Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, the vulnerability of Spain's domestic workers, many of whom are women living illegally and thus facing a precarious situation, even more so due to the pandemic. Also, we meet one of the women behind the new feminist approach in Argentinian government policies, the country's first ever director of economy, equality and gender. And bringing back gold, the sprinter whose dream is to become the first Congolese athlete to win an Olympic medal. But we begin in Spain, which has more domestic service workers than any other European nation, as many as 700,000, 1 in 3 of them living in poverty, with some earning as little as €16 a day. Most are women, mainly from Latin America, and who work on the black market because they do not have a visa. Their vulnerable status meaning many are susceptible to abuse, as our team in Madrid report.
In Spain, domestic service workers make up 4% of total jobs, the highest figure in Europe. Annalise is one of them. 27 years ago, she left the Dominican Republic for Spain to earn vital money for her family.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Para quién es? Envío a mi abuela.
Sometimes I send 30 euros. It's not a lot here, but back home it's a huge amount.
When she arrived, she didn't have a visa.
I began working as a cleaner. It was the only way to get my papers. But it wasn't until 18 years after my arrival that I was given a contract.
Like many domestic service workers, she's been exploited, forced to work extra unpaid hours, paid late or less than the minimum wage.
We're not eligible for the ordinary social security status. Ours is the least protected sector in the country. Our employers take advantage of the situation because most women who work in the sector are migrants.
Like Annalise, 80% of domestic workers are Latin American. The association CEDOAC fights to defend the rights of the sector. Today the group is showing a theatre performance about the exploitation of domestic workers.
Por ley me corresponde día y medio por mes trabajado. Ley, te pagamos un sueldo, te damos un techo. Y con todo lo que hemos hecho por ti, ¿todavía quieres esas vacaciones? No, señora. No, señor. Pues venga, muy bien. A trabajar. A trabajar.
These women are demanding the same rights for their jobs as for any other employment, says Carolina, the association's president.
We're asking for the right to unemployment benefit, to get social security equivalent to our salaries, and to benefit from proper work inspections.
Out of 700,000 domestic workers in Spain, more than 40% aren't declared to the authorities. Underpaid in the cash-in-hand market, many are dependent on food handouts from charities.
Muchas gracias. Buen día.
These two friends have been working on the black market for 2 years.
I needed a job, so I had to accept this one. I was getting paid 500 euros a month for 5 hours a day, but the job actually required 8 hours of work.
We can't live on that, but we survive. We either pay the rent or buy the food.
Earning less than 16 euros a day, Geraldo and Ospina live in extreme poverty, like a sixth of domestic workers.
¿Has estado empleada doméstica, no?
También, sí.
Every day, the president of this foundation deals with dozens of cases.
Before the pandemic, these workers earned 10 euros an hour. Now it's even lower, 7.50 an hour. But they don't have a choice, they need to work. It's the slave trade of the 21st century.
A market where vulnerable workers accept abusive environments. Adriana from Peru is a home help. During the pandemic, the family that employed her didn't let her leave the house because of the fear of COVID.
Over the course of the last 14 months, I spent 12 of them indoors because I was a domestic worker.
As a live-in help, she's permanently available to the family. a huge amount of work without any escape.
I felt like I was in prison. I remember feeling like leaving and never going back. I wasn't considered a human being. I needed to get out even if it was just to go to the end of the road. Being confined was very difficult. At my job, they didn't show a shred of humanity.
Adriana's friend Delia has also made an enormous sacrifice. She left Paraguay and her family 15 years ago to find a domestic service job.
These are my nephews. I've never seen them. They're grown up now.
She paid for her son's studies with her work, but she didn't see them grow up.
I didn't want to, but I abandoned my family. I've been far away from them all these years, so I barely know my sons. I wasn't there for their teenage years.
During the pandemic, she's had her hours cut and therefore her income. A wake-up call for her.
I realized that people tell you you matter, that you're part of the family. But when it comes to what matters to them, their money, they leave you aside.
Delia will soon be packing her suitcase to take a one-way flight back to Paraguay.
Now to Argentina, a nation which has been hard hit by COVID-19. But as the Latin American country battles the pandemic, the government has still continued to pursue a feminist approach. One of the key women driving this is Mercedes de Alessandro, Argentina's first national director of economy, equality and gender, working within the economy ministry. Our team on the ground went to meet her.
Economist Mercedes de Alessandro is a pioneer. After many years researching and writing on gender-based economic inequalities, the Argentine government summoned her to run the first bureau dedicated to this issue under the Ministry of Economy. The goal here is to adopt a gender perspective for the creation of all public policies. For instance, this year the national budget was written with a feminist perspective.
Often, people think that gender perspective or caring for the environment are luxuries that only societies that have resolved all of their other issues can afford. On the contrary, for us it is exactly because we are facing a great economic crisis and because we see the gigantic asymmetric impact on women that we have to activate all of the means that we can and create politics that reduce the gap and put the underprivileged at the center. And this is revolutionary.
Tenemos que atender a esos sectores más postergados y eso sí es revolucionario.
Mercedes works with all of the Argentine ministries, but money is key to all her actions. Today, she has a meeting at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, where they print Argentine pesos, which were devalued by 30% in 2020. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the many subsidies provided by the state to the population were also developed from a gender perspective.
Most beneficiaries of family allowance and food aid, two subsidies that were created since last year, are women, 94% of them. Same situation with the emergency family income, specially launched during the pandemic. 57% of those who received it are women. If this support has gone principally to women, it is because poverty is feminized.
In the Casa Rosada, the Argentine presidential palace, there is a strong will to feminize the government. Parity is not yet reached, but 40% of the national secretaries are now women, like Micaela Sanchez Malcolm, Secretary for Public Innovation. This is a first.
I think the most important thing beyond equal representation of women in government is that we share a common agenda, a direction. We, the women who are part of the government, share the same will to integrate gender perspective into all fields of the state. We are moving forward together. This is our conviction.
The fight against gender inequalities is far from over, but Mercedes and her colleagues continue to work towards it every day.
And finally, with the Olympic Games in Tokyo just around the corner, our correspondent Clement Bonnereau in Brazzaville meets a sprinter whose dream is to reach the podium and become the first Congolese athlete to win an Olympic medal.
It's barely 6 a.m, but for Cecilia, it's never too early to train. Less than 2 months before the Olympic Games, the 28-year-old is leaving nothing to chance.
We are in the middle of a competition period, so training is not as hard as before. I'm focusing on maintenance to prepare for the next competitions.
This year's season has once again been disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The African Athletics Championships, which should have been held in 2020, have been cancelled for the third time. But Cecilia's coach is not the type to give up.
Hand off the hips. I try to focus on mental strength. It's more important than anything else. So I'm giving her a confidence boost. Tokyo will be a tough competition.
The youngest of 7 children, Cecilia's childhood was sometimes tough. But she's proud of her achievements and treasures the medals and trophies she's won over the years.
This is the medal I won at the Yaoundé Grand Prix in 2014. In total, I won 3 medals in Cameroon, 2 silver medals and 1 gold medal, because I competed in 3 disciplines.
The Congolese Athletics Federation has fewer than 300 members, including 62 women. In Tokyo, Cecilia will compete in the 200 and 400 meters.
At the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, I came second in my heat. This year, my goal is to reach the final. I want to fly my country's flag around the stadium.
Until then, Cecilia says she won't allow anyone to stop her in her tracks.
And that's it for now. You can also connect with us via our Facebook page, that of course being France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. So until our next show, bye for now.